and welcome to another lawnfawn video. Today we are so excited to be introducing our brand new stamp set, all the Santa hats, its coordinating dies, and its coordinating coloring stencils. We're also going to take a look at our Center Picture Window holiday add-on. Center Picture Window is a really fun interactive die, and now we have this really cool new cute shape for the window, and I can't wait to show you how it works. But first up, we're going to take a look at all the Santa hats, which has all the Santa hats. So you can see we have both a large and a small Santa hat facing in either direction. And then we also have this cute little beanie or snow hat in a larger and smaller size too. This set has a really cute Merry Christmas tiny phrase, and then it has a larger Merry Christmas in this really beautiful scripted font. And so now we're going to add some color to these super cute hats using our Copic markers. Now I love these hats because they're in all different sizes so that you can use them with all of your favorite critters. So all the Santa hats help you take any of your stamp set into the holidays in such a cute way. And I love that these sizes fit so many of our different cute animals and characters in our stamp sets. Here I'm adding some nice bright red to the Santa hats and either a little bit of warm gray or a little bit of light blue into the white areas for the hats. And then here I'm just adding some fun colors to the beanies, which you can do in more wintry colors or more holiday colors. There's a coloring stencil set for this. It's a set of 2 and they're sized to the same size as the stamp set so that they're really easy to store together. And all you need to do is line it up over your stamped image and just brush on your favorite colors of ink. There are little etched guidelines on the stencils which make it super easy to line up. So here we did a nice turquoise color with our rainforest ink, and then we're going to add a little bit of fresh lavender, a purple, onto the top and bottom of the hat for a more wintry look onto this beanie. And then here for the Santa hat, of course, we're just going to do our classic red, which I love using lobster for this red. It also has the detail for the trim and the pom-pom ball on the hat, which you can use or not. In this case, I decided not to use it and just leave it plain white, and you can see how beautiful these look with the coloring stencils. Next, we have the coordinating dies for the set, and all you need to do is line them up with your stamped images, hold it in place with some low tack tape, run it through the die cut machine, and you'll have perfectly cut out images every time. I love that there's a die for the Merry Christmas because you can either have it straight across like this or you can stack it depending on the look that you need for your card, and I think it's just such a fun look. And here I wanted to bring in some of my favorite critters to show how they can work with these hats. So here we have a goose from our Silly Goose stamp set, and he's using the smaller hat. And then here we have a capybara, and he's going to use the larger hat. And if you had characters facing in the other direction, then you could use the other Santa hats. And of course the same thing for the little snow hat. So you can use the larger hats on larger critters and the smaller hats on smaller critters, and it takes any stamp set and brings it right into the holidays, and I love it so much. So next up, we're going to take a look at the Center Picture Window holiday add-on, and I love this die because it has this gorgeous shape, which I also just love using on cards on its own, and we'll show you that in a bit. And it also has a tiny Christmas tree and a tiny little wreath and some cute little stars. And here is what it looks like when you die cut this from the Center Picture Window. It gives this beautiful shape with this really great detail. Now here, this is our Center Picture Window die, and this is part of the die, and we're going to die cut that out of some kraft cardstock, and this is how we got that opening. So you'll see that there's some lines in the middle of this die. You're going to center the score line that the die made on that Center Picture Window piece. You're going to center it between those 2 metal bars there, and then you can hold it in place with some low tack tape, and you're going to run it through the die cut machine. And this is going to help put that window in perfect placement onto your Center Picture Window card. Now Shari is going to be showing us how to create a Center Picture Window in just a little bit, but here I wanted to show you some of the other elements in the set. You can layer the Christmas tree over that base to give it a tree trunk, and then there's the cutest, teeniest, tiniest bow for that adorable little Christmas wreath. You can also add the little star on top of your Christmas tree or into your scenes as well. And here is what it looks like when you add this new window style into the Center Picture Window card. This is a cute little mini card with the adorable little shape. You can fill it with your favorite characters, your favorite holiday images, or you can add in the cute little tree and wreath that are included in the set. And next up, Shari is going to make the cutest Center Picture Window card and show us just how to put it together. So take it away, Shari.
I am creating a center picture window card today using the caroling mice. I've already colored and cut out my images here. And I will be using the new Center Picture Window Card Holiday add-on for my Center Picture Window Card today. I'm using all the Sparkles Petite paper pack. You can see I've already cut a couple pieces there in my little bin. I have the green stripes that I use for the panel for the front, and the red with the gold foil for the inside piece. And this is where I'm going to use the new holiday add-on. I apologize, my camera was a little blurry here, but it will come back into focus, I promise. I am folding this down the score line that the die creates so that I can see exactly where to line up this new window that we're cutting in this center picture window. So you line up that part in the center that has the two bars with the fold. You want the fold right in between it, and it cuts out this decorative window. You could actually keep this fallout piece for some other project if you wanted, because it's a really fun shape. Now I'm folding along the score lines that the die created for these little tabs on each side. This is what's going to hold it inside of our card. There are some little additional pieces that come in this die set. I'm just using the tree, and I cut two of those from algae cardstock. There is a little die that you could give them a little trunk if you wanted, but I'm just using the trees for today's project. So I need to cut out the base of my center picture window, and there is a die in this original die set that cuts the base at the perfect size and creates the score line down the center. So I'm just cutting this from white cardstock, and I will fold down that center right where that score line is. Everything we put inside this card is kind of going to be based off that score line. Now I want a background sky inside my window, so I just use that same die that cuts out that red piece to cut out the blue. But what I'm going to do is actually trim off the tabs on each side. And instead of folding it with the fold coming out at me, I'm going to fold it with a valley fold, because this is going to go into the fold of the card. So this is going to sit right in that fold, and then this piece will pop out towards us. So I'm going to put the 1/8 inch double-sided tape on the tabs of this little frame piece that we have here. And this is going to go in the center of the little card. So what you want to do is line up the folds. So we have the fold in the center of the card and the fold in the center of this window. You want to line those up, and then you want to fold the tab under on the right side and stick it down. Now I'm going to layer my blue that's going to be my sky that we see through the window, and I'm layering this on top of that little tab. And you're going to see my little trick for doing that on the other side later. Next, we have our little hills that fit inside the center picture window, and I cut mine from white so that they look like snow. And I'm just folding on all the score lines that the dies create. So we have the little tabs on each side and then the fold in the center. Now this little skinny one that's very tall, that one's going to go in the background, and the other one will go in the foreground. And I'm just adding that same double-sided tape to the tabs of both of these pieces. Now to line these up, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to line up that fold, and then we're going to stick down the right side. So tucking that tab underneath and just the right side, and then I can flip that out of the way. We'll do the same for this one. Align the folds together, stick down the right side, and then flip it out of the way. So the next thing I want to do is I need to stick these to the other side, to the blue side. So I'm pulling off the liner paper, and what you want to do is fold them over just like this. It took me a minute to remember. So fold them on the center fold and have their tabs pointing up. So the sticky side is pointing up. And then I can close the blue like a book, and it will stick to both those. Now here's my trick for doing the other side and hiding the tab of the red window. So I have adhesive all over the back of my blue piece. I'm going to fold my red window over, so now the tab is going to get sandwiched in between the blue and the white card base. So just like this, and now it's hidden. And I will show you my first example to show you what I'm talking about. These are not hidden, so you can see how you see the white tab, and on this one, they are sandwiched in between the blue and the card base. So now I need to add the panels on both sides, and I am going to do that with the green stripe paper. I'm just measuring. It is 1 5/8 inch wide. I'm just going to cut a strip, And it is taller than 3 inches, so I'm actually going to cut this in half so they are 3 inches tall, and I will glue them down and then just trim off the excess. This really kind of finishes off those sides, and it will match the panel that goes on the front. So I'm aligning the top, and you can see the part that's hanging off the bottom, and I'll just trim that with my scissors. Now I want to create little snowy hills on both sides and on the front to match the snowy hills in the center, and I am using the stitched wavy border to do this. I'm going to cut one long one, and this one will go on those panels on the inside. I will do that in just a minute and trim it down. But I also want one for my front panel, and the front panel has that stitching detail around all 4 sides, so I'm cutting a piece with the same die so I get the stitching detail. Before I trim the top with the border die, however, I do want to stamp my sentiments. So I have a small sentiment banner, and that is where the first part of my sentiment that's going to go that says Mayor, and then I will stamp the rest of it right along the bottom of this stitched rectangle. And this way I know I have plenty of space for my sentiment. I always like to stamp first and then die cut with a border die. So now I can line this up and die cut the top of it so I have a snowy hill for the front panel of my card. Now this lines up perfectly at the bottom of that stripe panel that goes on the front. This one I'm putting up at the top, and then I'll trim off the excess. And then of course we need to decorate this. So I have this cute little mouse that's sitting, the park bench, and the 2 trees I cut earlier, and this is what's going to go on the front of my card. So I'm adding my little mouse to the park bench, and he sits right here in the snow. And then of course I have my 2 little trees cut from algae cardstock. Then I can add this whole panel to the front of my center picture window card. Then I can take the other one that I created, and I'm adding them to each side of the panels on the inside. And I will just trim off what's hanging over the side and put that big long piece on the other one. Now I did forget to stamp a sentiment on these panels until after they were glued down. I would suggest stamping this first, but since I forgot, we're going to figure out how to stamp them in here. And I'm just being very careful and pushing that center window out of the way. So I like that this looks like the little mice are singing. I'm dreaming of a mice Christmas. I'm just pushing that panel out of the way. And now we have that sentiment on the inside, and I can start to add all of my cute little mice to the inside of my card. So I have a mouse to go on each of the side panels. I like this little guy with his little bells, so of course there's some music notes to add there too. I cut out lots of music notes so that I could add some to the inside of the picture window as well. I have this lamppost that I will glue right to the back panel on the left, and then the music notes will go on the back panel on the right. And then that just leaves my little trio of mice. Now they're going to need to be folded in the center to fit inside the center picture window. And there is a die in the set. I shouldn't say it's a die. All it does is make a score line down the center of something so that you have an easy fold. So I just ran that through my die cut machine, and now my little mice have a score line and I can fold them in half. Now I did end up with like a little red dot on my little book, and I'm not sure where that happened, but I decided that was a good opportunity to add a little gold star as an embellishment. So now these are folded in half, and they're going to fit on that little hill in the center perfectly. You just want to line up the folds, and they are just so cute in the center of that window. And now this card is all complete. So here is a look at the front of the card with that cute little mouse sitting on the park bench that says, "May your Christmas be very mice." Then you open it up and you get all those little caroling mice inside singing. And I think this is just such a sweet little holiday card.
This card turned out so cute, Shari. I love the fun mini size and the big surprise of the caroling critters on the inside and that fun three-dimensional feel. Next up, we're going to create a card with all the Santa hats and also that center picture window, but used in a different way. And here we have our All the Sparkles cardstock, and we're going to die cut that nice neutral stripe there with the largest of the outside in stitched rectangles. Then we're going to bring in this center picture window die, and what I love about it is it's so cute in the center picture window like Shari showed us, but you can also use it as a window on your cards just in general. So we're going to layer that here onto the card, we'll run it through the die cut machine, and now we have this really cute stitched opening that we can add our adorable images into, and I think this is so pretty. Next up, we are going to stamp our sentiment. So we're going to take out the Misty stamping tool and all the Santa hats there. And I love that big Merry Christmas on there. And so we're going to layer that right underneath the window opening here. And then we can just fold the door here and pick up that stamp. And then we're going to ink it up with some black licorice ink and stamp it right beneath the window. Next, for a nice contrast behind the window, we're going to be putting this All the Sparkles paper, and those stars are so pretty. And so we trimmed down a piece that's just going to fit right behind that window. And here we have a standard size card base that's 5.5 by 4.25, and we're going to layer this really pretty sparkly piece of pattern paper on with some tape runner. And then for the window piece, we're going to be adding that on with some foam squares. And so we're going to have the beautiful stars peeking out through the window, and we're also going to have a nice little 1/8 white border all around this piece since we die cut it with the largest of the outside in stitch rectangles, which cuts the panel to be 5.25 by 4. Now here is that all the Santa hats and also our Silly Goose stamp set. The Silly Goose stamp set came out in fall and it is so super cute, and somehow with the Santa hats it's even cuter. It is so much fun to add these Santa hats to some of my favorite characters, and I love that I can take my spring and fall and summer stamp sets and bring them into the holidays and Christmas time. And so we're going to layer the different Santa hats on top of our geese here. So we've got the larger hats on the larger geese and the smaller hat on the smaller one. And then we're just going to add some little white gel pen lines and dots to the Santa hats so that they really pop on the card. Then next up, we're going to add some foam squares behind the geese, and those little presents are actually a part of the Silly Goose stamp set. They're meant to be birthday presents, but by coloring them in that green, now they have become Christmas presents. And then we're going to layer our cute little geese over this window, and I love that this window creates like the perfect little area to feature our geese in. We're going to add those with our foam squares and also the little presents here, and we're going to layer those on top of each other to be kind of topsy-turvy. And right now we are recreating a card by Elise, so thank you so much, Elise. We went ahead and stamped the speech bubble and the Hong Kong hooray phrase from the Silly Goose stamp set, and then we're going to add some foam square behind that and layer that into the scene, and I think that just makes it. It's just so adorable and so sweet. And the last little detail we need is some twine here. So here we have some of our hemp twine in this beautiful red color, and we're just going to wrap that around the inside of the card and then tie a bow at the top. And there's something about a bow for a Christmas card that just makes it feel so special, and I love the pops of red from the Santa hat and the bow on the fun neutrals that we have going on in the card. Now we can just trim off any of the excess on the bow, and this card is all done, and that all the sparkles paper in the background just makes the geese stand out. The red looks so beautiful on it, and look at that pretty sparkle and shine. It's so cute, and this was such a fun way to use this window on a standard card. And next up, Shari is going to show us a very cute capybara card, so take it away, Shari.
So let's create a Christmas capybara card using the new All the Santas mini set, which allows you to transform any critter into a Christmas critter. I also used the little sentiment in that set and the little speech bubble from Sweet Christmas Mice for something extra. I have cut the pieces from the Merry Mistletoe die set, so I have the branch and the leaves and the berries and the bow in my little tray here. And then finally, I did cut a stitch square scalloped frame. So this is cut from some Yeti pattern paper. So it's that white with the gold flecks. And that's going to go great with the All the Sparkles paper. So I have pulled out my All the Sparkles petite paper pack, which you can see I've already used some of. I'm going to use this red with the foil for my background and the green stripes, or I guess that's more the teal stripes, for what is inside of my frame. So I will just trim down this piece to 4¼ by 5½ so it will completely cover my card base. And then I'm going to pull out my frame and measure it. Sorry, I'm a little off screen here. I'm just measuring that. And I'm going to trim this piece down. So I trimmed it down to 3⅛ of an inch, and that way it's going to fit right behind my scallop square frame. So I will just go ahead and attach this patterned paper to my card base so it covers the whole thing. Then I'm going to assemble my mistletoe. So the leaves I cut from a green textured canvas cardstock. The branch is from paper bag, and then all the little berries I cut from dolphin cardstock, and I'm just adding little dots of glue, picking them up with my pickup tool and dropping them into place. I also have the bow from the Merry Mistletoe cut from some gold sparkle cardstock, and I just need to assemble these pieces. So a little dot of glue at the top of the little tails of the bow, and then I'll put another little dot of glue in the center for the knot. And I could just add this right to the top of my mistletoe with a little dot of glue, and now it's ready to add to the card. Now for my little capybaras, I need to make them all festive with their Santa hats, and I colored and cut out 3, and I'm actually going to add a 4th one to my final card because I thought it had a little more balance than these 3. The other thing I like about the All the Santa hat set is this sentiment that says Merry Christmas. It's a really nice, pretty scripty font, and the best thing about it is it has a die that cuts the pieces out, and I just think that's really fun. So I'm just stamping that in black ink and using the coordinating die to cut it out. Now, the other fun thing about the die is it cuts the 2 words separately, so you could stack them one on top of the other if you wanted to, but I'm going to keep them side by side right at the bottom of my frame. I'm creating a little family photo today. I've put some foam thin strips all around the frame and a little bit on the back of the sentiment. I'll just pop this right onto my teal stripe. That's my background for my picture frame. This is going to go right onto the card. I kind of want it a little lower than right at the top so that I have room for my mistletoe to be added to the top of the frame. And I'm just adding this with a little bit of liquid glue, which will allow me to kind of get it right in the right spot. And then I will add my mistletoe to the top. So this is going to go right there hanging out the top of the frame, and I like how it goes past the frame at the top. Now I do have my capybaras with some foam squares on the back of them as well, and I'm centering up the mom and dad. Then I have the little baby, and once I added him, I felt like it was a little off balance, so I actually ended up adding another one. I do have this little orange too, and I decided to put that right in the center because it was a little pop of a different color. And then here is my other little capybara. So I got to use the other little Santa hat too. I like that there's different sizes depending on your critter. And I will just add this one over here on the left side, and now we have a very balanced family photo for Christmas. This is like your Christmas card that you're going to send out to everyone for Christmas, right? And then of course I have my little speech bubble that I stamped earlier, and I'll just pop this over here. And I want some more shine, so I cut a whole bunch of stars from the sequin mix die out of gold metallic cardstock. So it's that got that same shimmer as that gold foil in the background, and I'm just kind of placing them around, figuring out where I want them to be. And then I will come through with a little dot of glue and just hold them in place with that little dot of glue. Pick them up with the pickup tool and place them right back in that dot. And this will dry clear, so no worries if it shows up through the little opening in the middle of the sequins. And I added a couple more here and there just because I love this bit of shimmer that it adds, and I wanted to fill in a little bit more as well. Now there is kind of an emptiness at the bottom, but that's because I wanted to add a piece of twine. So I'm wrapping that around 3 times. I'm using white so that it really stands out on that red paper. And then I will just tie a bow over here on the left side. And this just kind of fills in that space at the bottom. But I think it gives it a really fun look. You get to see more of that beautiful foiled paper by using the square frame and just adding a little bit of texture by adding the twine at the bottom. And then I did add some more glitter to this card. I know there's a lot of shine with the foil, but I added some glitter just to the white areas of the Santa hats and a little bit to the leaf on the orange. And then here is my finished card with that cute capybara family. They are ready for Christmas, ready to send this card out to all their friends and wish them a very Merry Christmas.
This card is too cute, Shari. I love the capybaras with the Santa hats. It just makes me smile. And next up, we have some incredible cards by the design team. And this center picture window card by Grace is so cute. It features our cozy cat stamp set. And when you open it up on the inside, look at this fun cozy scene. I love that the window is the inside and the outside parts are the outside scene. It's just adorable. And oh my goodness, I am just in love with those cozy cats and in love with these center picture window cards. This card here by Audrey features our brand new Build a Fox, and he is framed by our adorable center picture window used in a different way. And then here we have the really cute card by Elena using our sweet Christmas mice, again with that gorgeous frame with the center picture window. This card here by Maureen is so cute. I love the Be Merry on the front, and as you open it up, you have our really sweet Christmas mice on the inside and the fun three-dimensional scene with the center picture window. This card here by Lynette is adorable, and the giant Be Merry is so fun with our sweet Christmas mice, and I love how she's added the Santa hats to them. And then this card here by Letitia is so fun. I love the Santa hats on top of the sentiment and also on top of our cozy cat. Here's the card by Elise that inspired us to make ours today. I just love the silly geese with their Santa hats on. And then here is Shari's center picture window card, and she added a fun star treat box to complete the whole thing and make the perfect little gift. We can't wait to see what critters you add the Santa hats to and your awesome center picture window cards, so make sure to share them with us. Thank you so much for watching today, and I hope you have an absolutely amazing day. Bye!